Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we share the latest information on the deadly crash here in Perry County.
And we take you to Floyd County, where we now know who was killed after being hit by a car there earlier this week.
Plus, after months of mistrials and delays, one Perry County murder trial is moving forward, with witness testimony expected to begin this morning.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 5:31 on January 23rd. I'm Madison Pergram.
And I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News on this Thursday or Friday Eve.
Yeah, and a lot of kids are still out of school this week today because of sickness. So they had the holiday, they had maybe a snow day, and now sickness. So they're having a full break.
I know, it's incredible. It's like Christmas break 2.0 for them.
Let's go to Brandon. Brandon, it is a little warmer this morning though. So if kids are going to the bus stop, it's just a little warmer.
Yes, just a little warmer. So maybe lighter jackets, not the layers and heavy winter coats you've had the last few days, because it's going to get to 50 today, maybe a little bit better in some areas. So just be aware of that. Cloudy skies though, the name of the game this morning. We take a look at the satellite and radar, and the clouds continue across the region. Temperatures are still in the 30s almost area-wide. We have one little hangout there at 27 in Ashland. Everybody else at least in the 30s. Some spots closer to 40, likewise in Harlan this morning. So in the areas that are closer to 30, I noticed this morning, maybe just a quick scrape on the way out your door. Maybe give the cars just a second or two to warm up, because I had just a touch of frost on my windshield this morning. I'm sure some folks that are closer to 30 will. Temperatures will climb today into the 50s. We stay dry for the daytime hours, but when we get to the night, things change just a little bit. I'll have the extended forecast coming up here in a little bit.
All righty, Brennan, thank you. Well, many people in Elkhorn City spent the day talking about J.R. Frazier, a local man who died Tuesday night. J.R. is remembered as a giving, loving person who dedicated a lot of time to the community. From athletic events to church duties, those who knew him say J.R. was determined to help every person he encountered, and the city will not be the same without him.
Felt different because he would always stop by here every day. He would always check on us, and he was just always just coming in and hanging out with us, and it's just different. It's just not the same without him, so we'll really miss him.
Services for JR will be handled by Bailey Funeral Home in Elkhorn City.
And a crash here in Perry County killed one person yesterday. Now, details are still limited, but here's what we know. The crash happened at about 3 p.m. Wednesday afternoon along Upper 2nd Creek Road. Emergency crews worked the scene for much of the afternoon, and people who live and knew the family say this is a tight community and this loss will be felt.
I just live a couple houses up above them. It really shocked me because it was close to home.
Now, the cause of the crash is still under investigation, and police have not released a name at this time.
Yesterday, we learned the name of a man hit and killed in Floyd County. A car hit Eric Ray Terry on Tuesday. Investigators tell us it happened on Route 80 near the Garrett exit. So far, they have not released much more info about the crash. Kentucky State Police are handling the investigation. We do know Terry's body was sent to Frankfort for an autopsy. He was 34 years old.
And the case against a woman accused of murder continues.
Yeah, Kentucky State Police say Melissa Wolke attacked her friend Donald Abner. He was found dead in her backyard, lying next to her pit bull. Police say she used the dog to assist in the attack.
Chelsea Jones has more from yesterday's preliminary hearing.
Melissa Wolke is accused of murdering Donald Abner with the help of her dog. The attack happened last week outside her home in Conway. In court, Kentucky State Police detectives say a neighbor reported the incident. The neighbor said he heard what sounded like a party throughout the night, but hours later heard noises again. When he looked outside, he said he saw Wolke assaulting Abner and saying, quote, "Good boy, get him," to her pit bull. The neighbor also claimed hearing Abner call for help, but said he was too afraid to intervene because of the dog. Investigators say the neighbor recorded the attack on his phone, but later deleted it.
The caller stated to the detective that he deleted it because it made him sick to watch it.
According to detectives, when investigators searched Wolke's home, they found no signs of struggle, only an empty alcohol bottle. A detective said he had to wait several hours to question Wolke following her arrest because she was intoxicated. When he finally spoke to her, he said she became distraught.
She would say, "Oh my gosh, I went redneck, didn't I? Did I go redneck?"
then claimed she did not remember the attack. However, she told the detective she had a bad history with drinking and that her pit bull was a former fighting dog. Wolke said she and Abner had been friends for over 20 years and that he was staying with her at the time. Abner's autopsy revealed he died from asphyxiation. The coroner says Abner had a broken neck, but the injury was not consistent with dog bites. Wolke's attorneys questioned whether she would face an intentional or wanton murder charge, but prosecutors and the judge explained there was probable cause for both. In Rockcastle County, Chelsea Jones.
Now, Melissa Wolke's attorney asked that her bond be lowered from $500,000. However, no changes were made. Wolke will return to court in March for previous misdemeanor charges.
Well, jury selection started in a Perry County murder trial yesterday. James McIntosh is accused of shooting Danny Mullins multiple times last year. Despite the shooting happening in Perry County, the trial was moved to Knott County following a request for a change of venue. It did have a brief stop in Breathitt County where it was then changed to Knott. We understand a jury was seated. Witness testimony will begin this morning. It is unclear how long the trial may last.
And a man wanted out of Florida and arrested in eastern Kentucky for murder will spend 50 years in prison. In 2016, police caught Michael Herald in Perry County. He faces charges in a double murder case. Herald admitted to killing John and Nancy Englehart, and he worked for the couple but grew up here in the mountains. Court officials tell us Herald pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of burglary.
In West Virginia, one Wayne County man is facing additional charges. Deputies arrested James Rowe last week. They say he held a woman against her will, then led deputies on a chase in a stolen car. At the end of a pursuit, he allegedly assaulted the deputies. He was arrested on charges of unlawful taking and assaulting officers. During the investigation, deputies added robbery, burglary, and unlawful imprisonment charges.
And one man is accused of exposing himself to women on the University of Louisville campus. Police say James Wes Becker was driving a minivan when he exposed himself to a woman earlier this month. The incident was caught on video, and police say he tried to get a different student into his van 3 days later. This is not the first time Wes Becker has faced charges. He was convicted of indecent exposure in 2014 and 2015. He's been banned from the Louisville campus since 1995 for similar behavior.
State police believe they caught a Sunday evening robbery suspect in Lawrence County. Troopers were called to the K-Smart when a panic alarm went off. Investigators reviewed security video. They say that video showed Donald Adams walking in with gloves on and a mask. He then went to the cashier with a gun under his jacket and demanded cash. Troopers say they found Adams at a home just a few hundred feet from the store.
And police are close to arrest in the case of a theft at a car wash. Police in Laurel County say 3 people are suspected of cutting loose hose nozzles that cost more than $100 apiece. However, deputies say the business's surveillance photos are leading them to their suspects faster than normal.
What he likes is the fact that his video surveillance aided in us identifying suspects and recovering property, and we're going to make some arrests. And he's even talking about putting even more high-resolution cameras in this business, and he owns several other businesses in the area as well. So it's a great combination.
Deputy Achardo says Facebook is playing a major role in this case as well.
It will be at least another 2 months before Jerry Lundergan is sentenced. A jury convicted the father of former Kentucky Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes of 10 campaign finance charges in September. It stems from Allison Lundergan Grimes' failed Senate run against Mitch McConnell back in 2014. Jerry Lundergan and political consultant Dale Emmons were supposed to be sentenced yesterday. That has now been moved to March 25th.
And the state has suspended mine license at coal operations in Perry and Pike County. The Kentucky Division of Mine Safety says some American Resource Corporation employees still have not been paid. Some of those miners in Pike County blocked a train last week in protest. A Lexington Herald leader review of court records found that ARC has faced several legal battles over its alleged failure to make good on lease payments and left a mine in Perry County at risk of flooding after it laid off nearly its entire workforce and failed to pay the mine's power bill. We received a statement from ARC on Tuesday saying the recent dismissal of one lawsuit will mean the company can move forward with expanding operations and reemploying personnel.
The hemp program here in Kentucky will continue to be operated as a research pilot program. The Department of Agriculture says it will be this way for at least another year before transitioning to a commercial program. Growers can apply to be part of the pilot program until March 15th to grow hemp. The application is available online.
Now, new requirements for identification to travel by air, visit a military base, or to be admitted to a federal building takes effect in just more than 8 months.
Most adults will need a real ID if you do not already have a passport, but getting one has been tricky here in the Commonwealth. Yesterday, the governor and transportation cabinet secretary said plans are being put into place to make all of that easier.
WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what they had to say.
Flying, even domestically, after October 1st or visiting a military base or other federal building will require you to have one of these, a real ID. Significant. Kentucky officials admit that it's been a headache, but they say changes are on the way to make it easier. Offices in Frankfort or Bowling Green have been the only two options, but as of Wednesday, offices are now open in Somerset and Bowling Green. And Governor Beshear says more will soon be added. And they have appointed an official in Sarah Jackson to make the transition smoother.
Kentuckians are urged to start looking at the documents they need. We don't want any unnecessary travel or visits to offices. It's crushing when someone has driven 10 miles or 1 mile or, arranged for a babysitter at home just so that they could go and make application, and they get there and they don't have the correct documents.
And officials say they are not going to restrict anyone from coming to the office here in Frankfort to get your real ID. They say that regardless of where you live, you can come here to the capital city to get yours. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Now, Governor Beshear says they are currently looking at unused or underutilized state office space to help with administering the real IDs.
Sales taxes will not be going up in Kentucky. Proposed legislation would have increased it to 8% from the current 6%. Records indicate the bill was withdrawn Tuesday night.
And just ahead on Mountain News this morning, a new comedy about Britain's royal family will feature some famous voices from across the pond.
The forecast will be warmer the next few days, and it has been the last few, but we still have a chance to see a little bit of everything this weekend. I'll break it down for you in about 3 minutes.